And now, welcome to Like a Boss, insights with influencers, creatives, online entrepreneurs, and badasses like you. Here is your hostess, Heather Havenwood, Chief Sexy Boss, helping you rise to the top.
Have you ever wanted to stop the 9-to-5 grind and start your own company? Do you want to have more control of your income and your time? Then now is that moment to start and grow a successful business. As a female entrepreneur, I have succeeded. I have bit the dust. I have bounced back to growth and prosperity. But this would not have been possible without first taking the leap and owning my own business. But I didn't do it alone. I hired my first business coach 13 years ago. And now I help small businesses, solo practitioners, and professionals double their income and triple their time off. So let me help you too. My gift to you today is a free one-on-one strategy session. So go to coachwithheather.com, coachwithheather.com, and let me help you double your income and triple your time off.
Hey, it's Heather. Is your digestion feeling off? Are you often hungry even though you're eating enough and taking supplements? Are you struggling to burn off that last bit of stubborn fat that will not go away no matter how hard you diet or exercise? I guess I'm talking about myself here. See, it might be your gut. It was mine. That's why I am so excited to announce that P3OM, the Navy SEAL of probiotics, is now available at energywithheather.com. Look, tens of thousands of real people, including myself, has used P3OM to manage constipation, bloating, gas, acid reflux, abdominal pain, and much more. Look, as you'll learn when you go to energywithheather.com, P3OM uses unique and patent strand that has been proven in lab tests to deliver the right bacteria to your gut, so your body has what it needs to let go of all that fat. So look, what are you waiting for? Go to energywithheather.com. That's energywithheather.com.
Hey everyone, my name is Heather Havenwood and welcome to Like a Boss. My name is Heather Havenwood. Thank you so much for being here. Look, so when I do Like a Boss, it's all about influence, increasing your influence, increasing your impact, increasing your income. Truly. So this new year of 2020 is truly about those three I's. And so today's guest I'm going to be bringing you is how to increase your time. How do you actually take the 24 hours a day that you have and still to do everything that you need to do in your life and truly create the business that you love that increases impact, increases influences, increases your income. So today I have on the line Kris Ward. Kris, welcome.
Oh, I'm excited to be here. I'm a fan.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really it's rare that I have. It sounds odd. Rare that I have a fan that just reaches out to me, and that sounds odd, but honestly, it's so many people who are fans, but they don't reach out to say, "Hey, I'm a fan and I want to be on your show." It's actually very rare. So most of the people that I get on the show are either people that I know in the industry, and I tap on their shoulder and say, "Come on," or they are people that I want to connect with and I reach out to, or more importantly, PR people. Like I just get a lot of PR pushes over here on my side. So I just want to say congratulations and thank you for reaching out and say I'm a fan and I want to be part of it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So Kris Ward is the founder of Win the Hour, Win the Day, both a platform and Amazon best-selling book that helps entrepreneurs to systematically grow their business and, oh, by the way, enjoy a personal life too. I love that. After the loss of her husband, Kris returned full-time to the marketing and branding agency she had founded years earlier, only to find her business was thriving. She began teaching clients exact same systems and processes that freed her up and helped her during the difficult time and changed their lives in the process. So let's talk about this for a second. There's a lot of conversations about, time management. And I just, part of this process I'm going to share with you whenever I have a guest on, I always share like my own stuff around it, not just like, expertise tell me. But like I have a whole, I have a negative view around time management. And I think it's because I was born in the went into corporate America in the 90s, where we were forced to do Franklin Covey. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So if you're in your millennials, you have no clue what we're talking about. That's fine. But it was like these big binders with the Franklin Coveys, and you had to like do every single hour. And there was this whole structure, and people came into the corporate office and made you do the binders. And then my boss made us like have the binders at all of our meetings, and she'd look at our bind. It was just insane.
Yeah.
So, and this would be pre-cell phone, people, so just be clear. But that was the first time I was taught time productivity.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's the do. And then years later, I really got into what I call the be, do, have, like who you're being in the matter, and then do, and then have. And now where I'm at is a different level. It's still that same be, do, have, but it is like, how do you actually create? We come from a society of we're reactionary people, right? But if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be in creative mode. And the creation, I feel, is a birthing process, and I think that's a unique time. I'm not always in the birthing process, right? I'm not always in the creative process, sometimes in the doing process. So my question to you is, let's just start at the beginning, right? Let's talk about your philosophy. What is your philosophy of time management?
Well, first of all, I don't love that word either, but it's the word that everyone's using. So, I really like to think of it as time empowerment, right? So my philosophy is, that was my problem too. I got a lot done in a day, and I had a marketing agency. I was in business for about 4 years, and I was working insane, crazy hours. And one day, and I talk about this in my book, I almost electrocuted myself because I was in such a rush. And I now call myself a recovering rushaholic. So I was like you, like, I don't have time for these complicated strategies and these, all these color codes and all this other stuff. Like, get out of my way, learn to talk quicker and move faster, because you're all just not keeping up. So I get your mindset, and that was mine. But I was working insane hours, and I did almost kill myself. So I thought something has to change. So I started to really examine productivity feverishly and really look at the most successful people in the world. And the short version of that was they saw time differently than us, their perception of time. I used to think people that were highly successful, like the captains of industry, then they had this team and this support system. It's because when they arrived, they could now afford that. But it was their view on time and building those teams along the way and how they saw time that got them to that success. So ultimately, my governing philosophy is business should be fun, life should be more fun, and that your business should support your life, not consume it. You shouldn't have to pay a toll for having dreams. So that's the philosophy. Oh, she's on mute, people.
Yeah, that was me. And we're out. I was kidding.
Yeah.
And interview's over.
Yeah. I said it all. It was profound.
Sorry about that. I mute myself because sometimes I drink coffee and I went, on this. Yeah. Okay. So, that's interesting in philosophy, right? I agree with you. I think when you move up, time is different. There really is another level of time, and it's not taught. Because if we look at, and I want to go here for a second, philosophy for a second.
Yeah.
If we're taught, and I'm going to go to America schools, I can't speak for Canada, but let's say North America and Western world, okay? We're taught, get there at 7, 7:30, whatever, 7:30, and then we have 8 hours of school, or 7 hours, and you have class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're forced to sit there and listen to the instructor for 55 minutes or 50 minutes, whatever it is, right? And then boom, boom, boom. We were taught like you got to put we've heard this, you got to put the time in, right? You got to listen to the teacher for 50 minutes because you can't get the data faster or slower. You have to get the data and the time allowed. You have to get the instruction. And then you have this thing called a test. And that is our world. That is literally our world. And I don't like that world. I'm a rebelliousness again. I've always been a rebelliousness against that world. But when we're taught in America, that's the only world we have. And then we take that into corporate America, right? So I'm giving you an example because I'm showing you an example because then I'm going to throw the ball back at you, and I want to get your take on this. And I was in corporate America for many years. My 4th year I was there, I was number 1 in the country, and Southwestern Bell Wireless, by the way, is now AT&T, which is now Singular, which is now whatever. It's now, And one of the things that happened the last year is I figured out a funnel, basically. I figured out what you're sharing, which is I figured out how to maximize my time with this thing called a funnel. And I basically worked, God, I didn't work that much, from 10 to 2 every day, maybe Monday through Friday. Like I barely, quote unquote, worked in the office thing, you know, and yet I was making the largest amount of sales over not only my team, not only North Texas, over the country. This little girl, you know, code 5432, the sales code, was making more than anybody. And I was like sometimes at the pool, you know?
Yeah.
And because my boss didn't see me in the office putting in the time, and I became number one in the country last year, I got fired because, quote, you didn't put in the time. You know, but yet my sales were, so here I am winning, and then I'm punished, right? I'm punished because I wasn't sitting in the office picking my nose, looking like I'm working.
Yeah.
And I want to get the analogy there, that is truly the structure that people then move into as entrepreneurs. You got to put in the time, or as Gary Vee says, the hustle. You know, or, you know, some other people out there that are about the hustle. Let's talk about that. So what's your philosophy around that?
Well, you brought up some really good points that I'm actually particularly passionate about. So what I would say is we have all been trained to think, okay, sweat it out and the grind. And especially as an entrepreneur, I thought for years that meant in Latin, long nights, you know, and just longer days, right? So where I fell into problems in the beginning too was I had subscribed to the old way of doing things where your personal life pays the price. You're trying to do it all yourself. You're working harder and harder, buying new technology, burning out. And I took great pride. I mean, that's a compliment when people tell you how, oh, you're a hard worker. I mean, could you be given a better compliment, right? So we do get lulled into that false sense. And you bring up many good points. One of them, I often say to people, regardless of how rich your academic background is, you were never really taught effective time empowerment tools. If you were in getting your PhD in university, you know, you could have 8 different professors and they're not asking you, how is your life? Do you have a lot that you have to work and your rent? Do you have kids? Do you have 7 other courses or 5? Let me help you integrate that so you can be effective. So, you know, nobody teaches you that, and they want to see you sweat it out. So that is really important. And it is a very dated and old way because we are in the info age and people want to see results. We're not in a manufacturing situation anymore where you're putting in the hours. Is how, you know, all the people we admire is somebody that yields results, not hours. So I don't like that hustle. I don't believe in the grind. I found that when I started being more effective with my time and using time empowerment skills, you know, oh my gosh, how much more I could get done by working less hours was shocking to me to this very day. Like it's amazing. So you are tapping into the misinformation that we've all been given. And I agree 100%. It's problematic. Oh, and she's off again. So it's my show, everyone.
It is problematic. It is very much problematic. And it's also, so just to give you an idea, I live in Austin, downtown, and it's not like New York where it's like go, 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 go much, but it is a go, go, go. I mean, it is Austin. It is the city.
Yeah.
It is about traffic. It's a little like LA a lot, you know, that way. It's becoming more and more. But when I lived in Florida, you know, everything was all about chill. Like relax, have a cocktail. So it's also an energy of the city you're in and the environment you're in. And as you're an entrepreneur, you have to create your own energy, you have to create your own environment. And when you are looking at everyone around you that looks like they're really busy, or you go onto Facebook and it just looks like thousands of people are always busy and making more money than you, it can get daunting. So let's talk about your philosophy on how do we have the hour of the day, or that, you know, what does that look like? And how is it that, and I don't want to overstep the fact that we talked about your husband, it was a loss. I don't want to overstep that. But what actually is the thing, the 1 hour a day that changes and changed your life?
So what I talk about is if you can win the hour, you can win the day. So what happens is too many people, I did this for years. I dove into Monday morning with my mighty to-do list in my hand. And I thought I had this somehow I thought Monday was a longer day than any other day. And I was going to get stuff done. And what would happen is if something derailed me, or I had this to-do list where one thing would take 20 minutes, another thing would take 2 hours, I had no idea the sequence of it or how long they would take or what resources I needed. And, I didn't know by 2:00 in the afternoon, was I on course, which mostly I wasn't. And then I realized the to-do list was, oh my gosh, so I have to stay later and come in earlier. And I bought into that cycle of, well, I can just work harder. I could work this weekend, all that other stuff. So that's just chasing the work instead of saying, look, if I block it out 1 hour a day, 1 hour at a time, I can really be strategic about my results, right? And we do this in other areas of our life. We know not to exercise an hour before bedtime. We do things, we go, I can't do that at this time of day. So it's really, you can't improve what you don't measure. And so people are using their calendar as either an appointment book for the outside world, but not managing their work. Or they're not putting things on their calendar that they do every day. So for example, I tell people, like, sometimes someone will say to me, oh, I do that every day, I don't put it on my calendar. And I say, well, it still takes up time. Your calendar isn't like a memo thing. It's a GPS for your day. That would be like saying, well, my car payment comes out of my bank every month, but I know that, so I don't count it. Well, that money's gone, right?
Right.
So we're at a real deficit from the minute we walk in the morning, when we don't have any idea of our inventory and we can't improve what we don't measure. So what I say is, if you break it down into hour increments, then you have sprints throughout the day where you can say, okay, all right, look, I'm falling behind, or what do I have to prioritize? Or, here's an example. A couple weeks ago, something happened on my phone. I called Apple. Oh my gosh, I was on the phone for an hour. We got it fixed. Great. The old days, I would have went into hysterical Kris, meaning, okay, now we got to go faster because I got to make up for the hour, and I expect everyone else to go faster and talk quicker, move quicker, and let's go, 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 right? And what I did was I said, okay, I lost an hour. What can I move? And so I moved something, and then I proceeded the day with calmness and clarity, and was able to get stuff done instead of knocking over your coffee, dropping your keys, because now you're in this big rush. So it's really about breaking the day into hour segments. And that is the starting point for allowing you at least to see what inventory you have and what's working and what's not.
So I'm going to bring this. For some reason, I always bring everything down to male-female conversations, and just go with me on that. So I find, in my experience, that women are the ones that do the do. Men have a tendency, but not as much. Now, I have it that really comes from a construct that we have to do more, or prove more, and we have to work more to get more, going on. And, that's a construct I personally on the planet am out to destroy, okay? Yeah, I am, right? So my whole big life is to help 10,000 women start and run their own companies and be financially free. And what I find is things I'm bumping up against is that construct. Well, I have to do more than my counterparts. I have to go faster than others. I have to do this whole do thing. And so my question to first is, my question for you is, do you find that most of your clients are women generally?
No, I don't. I find I have a good mix. It's really about executing your goals and your projects versus juggling work. So,
okay. Yeah. Because see, when you're talking about the loss of an hour, like, I never think like that. I'm like, I didn't lose an hour. It's what I had to do, right? Yeah. Or I put everything on my calendar. I come from a different place. Yeah. I put everything on my calendar. Like, if I go work out, it's on there. If a bill's due, it's on there. If I go, I went to dance classes, it's on there. Like, I live from my calendar. Yeah. Right. I live from it. I even put sleep, go to bed. Like, I put a structure of that, but I've been taught that for many, many years. And very few people are like that. So I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that's where I come from. So in the world of male, female, do you find this a different kind of psychology, or is it just strictly an entrepreneur psychology that you're dealing with?
I find for me, it's it's a cultural thing of wearing that badge of honor and going, oh, I worked hard. That's the best compliment your mother, your teacher, your first job, could tell your parents. Anything, meet the parents' night. It's all about, oh, they're a hard worker, or she's not applying herself. Like, that's what they're saying to you. Well, if you were achieving all that stuff and working 2 hours a day, what if you really applied yourself and worked 8 hours?
So we're going to fire you, right?
Yeah. So then you could be making them 8 times the amount of money. So that's what they were looking at you as, you're not applying yourself. So I find it's this paradigm of
the paradigm, yeah.
Yeah. Are you sweating it out? Are you giving it your all? Are you falling out of your workday exhausted? Because if you're not applying yourself.
Okay. So, this is good. I like this because I know for myself, I do a lot of reading and I structure in time to read. And when I read. Like I set my Alexa timer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I did that too.
Sorry, Alexa. Okay. So, and I set that up, right, so that I read. And I do put that on my calendar. But if someone texted me or tried to get a hold of me during the time, I wouldn't say, I'm reading. I would say, I'm working. You know what I mean?
Right,
because in that construct called world, we have to be like, oh, I'm working. Or why aren't you going out tonight? Oh, I'm working. Well, it might just need me to be resting, right? So let's talk about that. So what is your, like, if we had to go down a road of like the 3 things or 5 things that we can do off this call, or one thing that we can do off this call that could help change things, what would they be? Just go down one.
So one, I would be saying that so many people dive into their emails before they have breakfast, sometimes before they get out of bed. And that's so disturbing because you have to look at your brain like your phone recharged in the morning. So you're at full capacity with battery. And once you start opening up all those apps and having all those things going, what happens is you get decision fatigue, attention residue, and you're also just creating more work by sending out those emails. And now the outside world is dominating, the decisions and the actions you're taking first thing in the morning. So one thing I would tell people is, everyone, and I did this for years. I'd say, oh my gosh, I really want to get this project out or whatever. You want to write a book, be on a podcast, do something major for your clients. And you say, okay, I'm going to work really hard and try to get my workday done at 3 or 4. And then I'm going to work on that project, right? Which is the last place you should be taking on new things that require focus and attention. So if you came in and that first hour of the day is your creative work, your focus, or any project you want to execute, then you can say, look, I want to do this. I want to have this out to my audience in 6 weeks. And I've got an hour every morning, Monday to Friday. And I just go in and I do that first. So it doesn't matter what explodes on your desk later in the day. And you know that you can answer your emails, half tired later in the morning at 11 o'clock. And so then that's done. And you can manage, control, and rely on your projects that you can then commit to your audience. Yes, it will be out on this time, because that's the biggest pain point for entrepreneurs, is always chasing that next project that keeps getting, moved for them. So the big thing I would tell you is, it's a waste of talent and time to be starting your day with emails. Start with the creative work first. Yeah. Oh,
I'm actually really big on that. I don't do emails in the morning. Now, what's funny about that, I say that, and then I did this morning, weirdly. Like, it was very weird. I'm like, oh my God, I said that. I'm very adamant I don't pick up my phone. Yeah. I don't touch my phone, okay? I just don't. Like, there's nothing that important, okay? Of course, I don't have kids. Some people are like, oh, yeah, I have kids. I get it. But I feel like if something's that bad, that it would be like,
they'll get a hold of you.
Bad news
travels quickly.
Yeah. It would be kind of like a smoke signal or something.
Yeah.
So, I just don't do that. I also am very big on I don't do it. So I'm different. No TV in the bedroom. Yeah. No phone in the bedroom. That's where you sleep.
Yeah.
And then my alarm is my Alexa. That's outside my bed, right outside the bedroom, so I can hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I made that decision because it is a technology. I will say this. Here's what I'm saying. I work out in the morning, so usually I do affirmations, statements, journaling, and then I go work out. Yesterday, I worked out 7 o'clock in the morning class, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Right? We're doing all some bar thing. We're all squatting and whatever. And this girl in the room, because it's all like an enclosed room, it's like a ballerina room, whatever. She's sitting there on her phone.
Yeah.
Now, it's not my class, But it was so irritating. And then afterwards, I went up to the front because it's kind of a newer gym. And I said, what's y'all's policy on da-da-da? You know, because I was like, look, dude, I said to her, she's like, well, we're trying to figure that out. I said, it's 1 hour. It's my 1 hour. It's everyone's 1 hour, right? It's 1 hour, no phone. Because if one person is sitting on the phone like this, we're all going, oh God, where's my phone?
Yeah.
You know, we just do it, right? It's just, oh yeah. So, and it was distracting. My point is that technology is great, but the creativity doesn't come from technology.
No.
That's what you're pointing to, is that the technology can actually take you out. It takes you out of creativity.
100%. In fact, in all of history and mankind, the biggest accomplishments were done at times of rest or play. And so when you're in that perpetual rush mode, getting to the next thing and racing the day, you're not going to have the elements, in your brain and your capacity to be creative. And on that, I want to just touch on one thing, because you keep saying you're different. It's not that you're different. It's that you are a high achiever. And this is the patterns and the behaviors of people that are able to execute at a high level and have a quality of life. So you're not different. You are just accomplished in this area. So, hats off to you, but you should say, no, I'm accomplished, not different.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you. I feel like I just got like an award. Like I should just I'm an accomplished award. Something else I do, and I'm now curious what you think, but I feel it's good. I do boxing.
Love it. Yeah.
I love it. It's great. I work with this world time. He's amazing. One thing he does, though, I know it's just because of his training, and he trains a lot of people, and he's been doing it for 20 years. He'll say, okay, we're going to do this, whatever, exercise. And he'll go, you remember? And it's an automatic thing he does, because he does it a lot. It's like, you remember? And I've only worked with him for like 2-3 months. And I said, I will always say no to your answer. He's like, what? I go, I'm in the moment. So if you did this last week or 2 months ago or 2 weeks ago, my brain might catch up and go, oh yeah, I remember doing this. But if you actually ask, oh, we're going to do blah, 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 blah exercise, do you remember? I'm going to say, nope.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the moment. Right? And then he'll show it, and then my brain will go, we've done this before, we haven't done this before. And then go, we've done this before, and I'm going to do it newly, right? So because that's my training, has to be like, don't remember anything. I know that sounds really odd, but I think that's a high performance conversation. It's like if you go into remembrance, your performance will lower. If you go into just be present in the moment, like act like everything you do is new, everything you do is first time, come from a beginner's mind, then you can be present. Now, everything has to stack. We're talking about, dancing or any kind of like structure of athlete. It does stack, but your body will do it. Your body will go, oh, I've done this before. Oh, okay, wait, hold on a second. I got the pattern, right? Boom. But when I said that to him, he was very like you're making my life harder, And I'm like, actually, no, I'm present. I'm with you. Now you might have to explain it. Yeah. But I'm in the moment. So is that a high performance thing, or is that just being lazy?
No, that is what most people don't understand. Is called focus. And so often now people think they're focusing and they're not. And they say, I can focus on 2 things at once. And you can't. Oh, I'm listening to you and I'm texting. And you can't shine a spotlight on 2 different spots. So what you're doing is context switching. So now you're in front of him and you're thinking you're all in and you're all focused, and he's asking you to pull from another memory. So that is just another skill that unfortunately not only do most people not have, they don't even know that they're missing it. So it's your ability to focus really, again, empowers your other, the other abilities you have in play.
Yeah. No, well, thank you. Yeah. It is. I think it is a high performance conversation to be able to focus and to be intentional. And I think that this is my own personal view, but I think one of the worst things we do as education is we reward remembrance. We reward, what I call you remember something and then you go to your test, and the test is only about what you remember, not what you learn.
Absolutely.
regurgitating. Biology was like that, right? You have to remember this big long word, and then you gotta remember, and then you go to the test and you're like, I got it, and then like you didn't learn it, you just remembered. Regurgitation versus learning. And something that I learned about myself, but no one explained this to me, and I think this is a beautiful conversation. This is such a beautiful analogy of what you're talking about. I ended up my last year in college, I won't get into it, like how I got to the end of my college career, like just give me the hell out of here. Like I didn't care what I got, like give me a thing called a blah, blah degree and like I'm good, So I ended up getting a minor in math. Why? It was strictly out of the fact that I couldn't stand regurgitation in biology. Yeah. And I thought, well, I'm good at problem solving. In math, when you go to high level math, like 3,000, 4,000 level in college, they give you, you walk into a test, they give you the question basically, which is basically the problem. And then they give you pieces, like 5 pieces of paper stapled, all blank, and a pen or a pencil. They go. Yeah. And they're like, you got 3 hours.
Oh my God.
What's so beautiful, I loved it. The reason I loved it is because it was like this, right?
Yeah.
And you just kind of worked your way through it. It was no regurgitation. You had to remember nothing. Yeah. You had to remember nothing. Your brain was like, oh wait, I've done this problem before. Oh wait, I've seen this before. Oh, that's interesting. But it's 3 hours. And the reason I gave you 3 hours, you don't have to take it, but they gave you that room. Yeah. And then there was no pressure. You had 3 hours. You could do it in 5 minutes. You can do it in half an hour. You can do it in 20 minutes, but just be present to getting it correct. That's what the entrepreneurs miss. They try to get things correct creatively in 1 hour. I got 1 hour, be creative, go. What the heck, man? You can't do that to your brain.
I don't even think they say I got 1 hour to be creative. I think they just try to do that while they're looking for their keys on a phone call, and they don't know where the phone is and it's in their ear. Right. So I don't even think they're that structured. And what I would say to you is that's what the brain is for. It's for to have ideas, not to hold them. And it's not a filing cabinet. And that's where another big thing that I think is missing.
I love that. Hold on. That's good. Yeah. That's good. A brain is not a filing cabinet. That's beautiful. No. If you could just get that one thing from this call, it's a beautiful reminder, because the more you dump out and let it go versus try to hold on, that is beautiful. Go ahead. Sorry. I just got to really
thank you.
That. A lot of people don't get that. That's why I have Evernote. I use Evernote like freaking crazy. I mean, right? So, because it comes up, I put it down. Yeah. Move on, because it is coming out like that. Yeah. It comes out and people go, oh, I got to hold it in. It's like being constipated or something. It's not going to, it's not going to help you. Right. But that's a really beautiful thing to say. A lot of people don't get that. Go ahead.
Well, you interrupt me all you want if you're going to tell me I say beautiful things. I got nothing but time for that. So we're good. So
it really is a piece. It's if anybody who's creative or wants to be more creative, can really understand that's how the brain, higher intelligence, universe, God, flow works. Yeah. That it is like that. It's like a waterfall. And if you try to like hold it, it'll stop. It'll be like a clogged thing and you're going to be stuck.
Or worse than that, I'd find years ago, I'd be like, oh, I had a great idea. And then I found out, no, I had that great idea 3 months ago. I just didn't put it anywhere. So you're just recycling it, right? So that's exactly it. And that leads us to something else that we didn't get to tap into yet, where so many entrepreneurs don't understand is, look, we are in a day and age where it is so super easy and affordable to build an amazing team for pennies. And until you have a team that supports you and allows you to stay in your zone of genius, like, okay, I'm the entrepreneur, I'm the visionary, here's what I want to implement. I don't need to be up at 2:00 in the morning because I got a big conference tomorrow learning how to get a flyer together on Canva. That's not where your time should be spent. And so when you can execute and delegate and get those ideas out to your team, then you become an entrepreneur versus self-employed and paying for a very expensive job with overhead. So that allows you freedom mentally to creatively is if you can build and execute having a super affordable and awesome team. And that's when you truly are an entrepreneur. And that's what the captains of industry did from day one when they're in the garage, even if it's with their buddies, they weren't in there by themselves.
That's true. That's true. But I'm going to add a caveat to that.
Yeah.
Which is something that I was at an entrepreneurial event that we talked about this, about the delegation piece and a mistake that one of the gentlemen was sharing that he had made. This is a beautiful thing because you hire people that are not entrepreneurs first. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're hiring people that are what I call task masters or task masters. It can be developers. It could be social media, but they're good at tasking, right? So a couple things. One, they are taskmasters, and so you can't rely on them to be entrepreneurial with you.
No.
So delegating a task to a task team is good. Trying to create ideas with your task team is not a good idea. And that's what he was referring to, is that he was kind of in his bubble where he was trying to rely on his task team to create ideas with him. And the challenge with that is that he's the creative. So he was at a cruise with us where it was like all entrepreneurs, all crazy creatives, right? And we're like, oh, here's ideas for you. He's like, oh my God, this feels so good. I've been trying to do this with my team for the last 6 months. We're like, well, those are task masters. You don't want them to be creative. We're creative, be an environment. That's why I'm creating masterminds, right, in 2020 for myself and my and associates, because when you are a creative, you can't assume your task team will be creative for you.
No, I 100% agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying you are the creative, and the task people you hire then allow you to get, like you said, those ideas out. You can start executing on those things so that you're not sitting there trying to do a flyer for your big mastermind tomorrow at 2:00 in the morning. You have somebody to execute a task that will not take you off your creative path and your visionary. And that's what being an entrepreneur is. So I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that was a big, that was a big challenge, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs get into that mode of like taking their tasks. Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. So let's go back into the win the hour of the day. So give me some other tools or tips or strategies that someone can do from this call.
Okay, well, one thing is I'm preaching to the choir here, so it doesn't matter, but to-do lists are the death of productivity. So, people think, oh, yeah, I've got a to-do list. But you have no idea how much time they take, the sequence, and all a to-do list is a percolating list of emergencies. So the emergencies will rise to the top, and then you will have to act on them. So, so anything on that list, because people panic, well, Kris, how could you not have a to-do list? Because things are actionable and have a plan on my calendar. A to-do list is really like getting something from, IKEA or furniture store. You have to build it. And then all of a sudden you got all these extra nuts and bolts on the floor. And you're like, well, I don't really know where those go. I'll worry about that later. I'll put that in so that's what a to-do list is. Doesn't give you increments of time, doesn't tell you what comes first, what's important. And you can't delegate. You can't say, well, look, this is the process and it's a to-do list, and I can hand that off to a person that I've hired, and now they know how to manage it, because again, it's a percolating list of emergencies. So that is the killer of productivity, is a to-do list.
Okay, so in lieu of the product of the to-do list, what do you suggest?
Well, that's when you start mapping things out on your calendar and you say, look, if I want to have, so for example, when I wrote my book, I said, all right, I want to have my book out in June. So what happened was I put it on the calendar and I did the math and I said, okay, if I want to have it out in June, here's what it looks like. And I broke it down and it looked like I had to do 5 pages per day. Now, if I had a to-do list and said, okay, I'm going to work on my book every week, then what would happen was, I'd be like, oh, I don't feel like it today, but I'm going to be really fresh on Thursday. I'll crank it out on Thursday. Now, what would happen was with 5 pages a day, there were some days I didn't feel like I had 5 pages in me, but I caught on quickly that if I didn't have 5 pages in me today on Monday, I wouldn't have 15 in me on Wednesday. So that kept me on my track versus a to-do list of work on my book every week. So that's the difference there. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So did you break it down? So in June, can you break that down for someone listening that they're like, it's January and they want to have their book out in June? What does that look like on their calendar in physical form?
Yeah. So what that looks like, and this leads into another really good point. I call it working backwards. Now, we often do this in our personal life. You might say, oh my gosh, okay, Thursday morning, I have to be at the dentist at 11 o'clock. It doesn't matter how much it hurts and how expensive it is. You'll say, okay, I gotta be 11, I gotta leave at 10, blah, blah, blah. And by the time you work it backwards, you might realize I have to be up at 8 to do my workout and do all these things to be there at 11. But in business, we often get all excited, new project, new client, we dive all in and the new exciting thing rises to the top, or we just say, oh yeah, I'll just work harder on those other things and I'll slide this in, I'll get it all done. So what I did was I said, okay, how many pages is the book going to be approximately? Okay, great. And then I worked backwards and figured out that that's 5 days a week, not weekends, would be, I would need about an hour, hour and a half to do 5 pages, blah, blah, blah. So then I figured it out. That also led me to know, well, what are my other priorities during that time? It means other things have to come off my calendar. Do I network a little less? Do I whatever? Something else has to move because it's my time bank account. There's only so many hours in the day. So I would tell you that you work backwards, and then anything you do takes up time. Just like I gave that example with the bank account, it takes up time. So you have to say, this is going to be on my calendar every day because it takes up time. That's it. You can't say, I'm going to work on something for an hour and a half every day, but don't worry, there's no time associated with that. I'm just going to spit out 5 pages.
Spit it out.
Yeah. So it has to go on the calendar.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I live from the calendar. So much so that I'm in the middle of an insurance, whatever, legal battle. And they learned that my calendar was like my life. And so my entire calendar of like 2 years is in the deposition or discovery or whatever. I'm laughing because they're like, wow, the guy who had to go through it because he had to take out like personal stuff or whatever, or whatever. And he's like, you put everything on here. And I'm like, yeah, I put everything on there, other than like going to the bathroom. Yeah. Or I even put eating, like eating on there.
Yeah.
So, he was like, holy cow, I'm like, because I live from, right? So I live from it. So I structure things out. Now things move, you know what I mean? But it's a living from process.
Because it's kind of like, think about this. If you were going to go on a road trip, so say from New York to California, and what would you use? You would use a GPS. And the best part of that is it would tell you immediately when you're off course. So you wouldn't be looking around the car awkwardly saying, okay, when do I tell them we should have taken that exit 2 hours ago?
Right.
So you have that GPS and you're all excited. It tells you when you'll arrive, how many miles, everything. It's awesome.
Yeah.
If you were going on that same trip and you used a to-do list, it would be like, bring clothes, bring snacks, bring money, right? So the to-do list is very different for that trip than the GPS. So wouldn't you want that for your business? Like, wouldn't you want that same structure, that same results, guaranteed results that you want for a road trip? Wouldn't you want that for your business journey?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I do a lot of things. I want to give people some room though. So I've been trained in improv and comedy and improv.
Yeah.
And I do, improv in the moment, right? So some people are like, I'm not that structured. I get it. You can improv in the hour or the 30 minutes or whatever. Just like, as long as you like, I'm doing this, an intention of it, then you can be improvisational inside of the structure, right? So good example. And I came up with our interview. I don't do a lot of heavy reading before my interviews. I'm in the moment. I read what I can and then I go with the flow because I'm very improvisational. That's because I've been training. Like improv as itself is a actual an art, like acting, So I've learned that art, and so that's more comfortable for me versus a structured call. So for instance, I had someone who wants to be on my show, and their PR person said, "Well, we need to have the questions." I said, "No." I'm not doing it. That's I have to sit here and think about what it is they're going to say. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. I go, if you want to give me questions and I'll consider asking them, but I'm not going to do it. So the answer is no, I'm not going to have you on my show. That's me, right? Yeah. Some people like, I've been on shows where they like, these are the 10 questions I'm asking you. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. But for myself, if someone's asking me to be on my show and they want me to do the work, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. No, I think it's not very conversational. And I think your flow is very evident in the results of your podcast. As I said, I'm a fan. But I think also, to touch back to your previous point, that's exactly what I was against. I didn't want this big heavy system that I had to put in there, like the Weight Watchers of your calendar.
Oh, no. No.
So what I would tell you is, when I gave the example of writing my book, if I maybe wasn't feeling well Monday and said, to hell with it, I'm not doing these 5 pages today, then all that meant was I moved it to another day. So I was clear that then, okay, today, because I'm not feeling well, maybe I do something that takes less brain power. So it's not about being handcuffed digitally to this calendar that you're limited, but it's about knowing what your resources for that day are, or your expectations, so that you can massage the calendar to yield your best results, not so that it has you by the throat.
Right. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
By the throat.
Yeah.
That is good. Okay, so where can they find you, your book? Let's go down there. You have a podcast, you have a book, you have a website.
I'm out there. Okay. So
good. Yeah, share.
Yeah. And I'd love to. We just created a new resource. So if your audience is interested, we have this a little video training that we just created. We'll get the link to you in the next, in this call. And it's my team took a 1-minute video and gave me a month of content for social media. So I think people seem to really like that. My clients liked it, so I thought I would offer it to yours. So I'll give you that. So that would be in the show notes. And winthehourwintheday.com, you can see stuff there. And you can definitely check out my podcast called Now Your Business, How to Get to Your Next Win Now, where we have really dynamic conversational guests like yourself. And we're going to hope to seduce you to get you on. They can check out Now Your Business or winthehourwintheday.com. And I'm everywhere else like the rest of you, is LinkedIn, Facebook, stuff like that.
Okay, great. So Win the Hour, Win the Day.
Yeah.
Go check it out. My old show was originally called The Win, so I like the name. That was my original show name, called The Win. Now it's like a boss, and I'm actually looking at changing it again. And that's something I want to share just inside of a creative process. Entrepreneurship alters.
Yeah.
And it's not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. And I've shared this before. It's not like a big secret. My real name isn't Heather Havenwood. Okay? I made it up. All right? My first name is Heather Ann. I was born that. My mom would kill me if I changed that. But my last name is not Havenwood. And people always ask me, some people laugh and go, "Would you make that up? It's pretty cool." And I'm like, yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you something. It's not common knowledge to most people. And that's funny you brought this up. So I will share this with you.
Sure.
My name is Kris Ward. It was spelled Chris, and I changed it at 20 to Kris.
Yeah.
So I changed spelling of it. I just thought, no, I don't like the energy of the other one, and I changed it. So I did that too. So that's funny you bring that up.
I love, thank you for, I didn't know that, by the way. That was super cool. I think that shows your creativity.
Yeah.
You get to choose, and I think there comes a point when you really realize that being an entrepreneur is not about finding yourself.
Yeah.
It's about creating yourself. And sometimes people say to me, "Oh, well, I know your real name isn't Havenwood." And I go, I don't it's not like I hide that. If you really did for a while, a little search online, it'd be easy to figure out. Okay. It's not like I'm hiding something, you know what I mean? But if you find out what my last name, original last name, the one I'm born with on my birth certificate, you find out what it is, you probably won't be able to pronounce it. So that's why. Yeah. Okay. And I don't like the energy around it. And it actually means orphan in Dutch. And I don't like the energy around that. So my point is that what you're sharing, winning the day, winning the hour, it's about creating yourself. It's about creating your calendar. It's about creating your moment by moment. It's about creating your life. You've got these 24 hours. What is it you're going to create? What is it you're going to say, speak, do? What are you going to do with that time? Right? What are you going to do with the time given to you? Yeah. And I think that's a beautiful construct of what you're creating with Win the Hour, Win the Day. And I apologize we didn't talk about your loss with your husband. I do apologize. And if you want to share it, you can. It's up to you.
There's nothing to apologize. It was just a pivotal point in the journey where when I came back, I did have a business that survived. It not only survived, but it thrived. And, let's take all the emotion out of it, aside from losing your best friend and everything. The reality is I lost income. And if I had a business that had fallen because it didn't sustain that difficulty in my life, man, I would have been in a hot mess. So that's why this book became even more passionate to me, is because you know what, life does have interruptions, and you should be able to lean on your business based on the hard work you put in place. So it's not, it was really difficult for me in the beginning to share that story, not because of the sensitivity of it, because I didn't want it to define me or him. But people kept telling me, no, people need to understand, Kris, that could have turned your life in a very difficult spot had you not had those structures in place with your team. So that's why I share that. I don't worry about glossing over it. The lesson is that you can take all the emotion out of it. At the end of the day, you get, there's expenses to somebody being sick, and you lose an income. So you better have a business that you can lean on, and you have a business that, that you can step away from for a few minutes and deal with life. So that's really the moral of that story. So no apologies necessary.
Well, thank you for that. And thank you for that. My biggest intention of the world, and I am on this planet, is to help 10,000 women run and start their own business to be financially free and financially secure. And I always share about, I feel like there's a lot of women that are what I call in a prison, and what a prison could look like. It could be on what I call the east side of Austin or LA, where it's, they're in a bad situation and they don't have a lot of money. They can't get out of that situation. But it could also look like a 6,000 square foot house in Beverly Hills. Okay. Yeah. It could really, I know people in those prisons. You might go, that's not prison. Yes, it is. 600 square foot house in Westlake in LA with a beautiful Mercedes, and all three of their kids are going to private school, but none of their income, all their income is with let's say their husband. Things happen. Divorce happens, death happens, sickness happens. There's a lot of things that could happen, and that just goes away, and they have nothing that they're building their foundation on, right? Yeah. And that's what I want to help. Both sides of the fence, by the way, it doesn't matter what side of the track they're on per se, is that I think every woman, no matter where they're at financially, that they should start their own business to create their own financial security. Yeah. For any situation. Sickness happens, divorce happens, right? Yeah. Right? Death happens, car wrecks happen, airplanes happen, like it just happens. So why risk it? And I think it's a really important piece. I know for myself, I didn't have those things happen. I had abusive situations happen to me, and that's just my story. And I allowed myself to trust that particular income, that it would always provide for me. Right. And it didn't. Yeah. So I think that no matter the story, no matter the age, no matter what, we all should be creating some kind of business on some level to help our financial security, no matter what. So that's my thing, and I just really appreciate you being here, Kris. And thank you for being here, and thank you for, reaching out to me. I love that you did that. Very few people do that, by the way. And just where they can find Kris is Win the Hour, Win the Day. Go check her out. Go check out what she's up to. Go check out her podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
Now Your Business.
Now Your Business, which I'll be on soon, I'm sure. Okay. And telling my story as well. So Win the Hour, Win the Day. That's Kris Ward, C-R-I-S.
No, yeah, K-R-I-S.
See, because I had it in my head of what you said earlier. Yeah. K-R-I-S, Ward. Yeah. And you can find her at Win the Hour, Win the Day. All right, Kris, thank you so much for being here. Any last words?
No, just thank you for having me. It was a blast. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. All right, everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. Check me out at heatherhavenwood.com. You can find me at Spotify, Roku, iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, all of them, except SiriusXM, which I'm trying to find. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Hey, it's Heather. Is your digestion feeling off? Are you often hungry even though you're eating enough and taking supplements? Are you struggling to burn off that last bit of stubborn fat that will not go away no matter how hard you diet or exercise? I guess I'm talking about myself here. See, it might be your gut. It was mine. That's why I am so excited to announce that P3OM, the Navy SEAL of probiotics, is now available at energywithheather.com. Look, tens of thousands of real people, including myself, has used P3OM to manage constipation, bloating, gas, acid reflux, abdominal pain, and much more. Look, as you'll learn when you go to energywithheather.com, P3OM uses unique and patent strand that has been proven in lab tests to deliver the right bacteria to your gut, so your body has what it needs to let go of all that fat. So look, what are you waiting for? Go to energywithheather.com. That's energywithheather.com.
Are you a coach, consultant, small business owner, or online entrepreneur? Do you want to significantly grow your business, triple your list, and double your sales conversions? If the answer is yes, then launching a podcast is the next step. You see, being an expert in your field, having a website is no longer enough to be noticed in today's marketplace. I call it the influencer effect. Being an influencer is the key. You see, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And having your own podcast helps people to connect with you. If you're interested in having me help you launch your own podcast, grow your influence, and promote your business, then go to influencergrowthformula.com. That's influencergrowthformula.com. And let me help you rise to the top. Have you ever wanted to stop the 9-to-5 grind and start your own company? Do you want to have more control of your income and your time? Then now is that moment to start and grow a successful business. As a female entrepreneur, I have succeeded. I have bit the dust. I have bounced back to growth and prosperity. But this would not have been possible without first taking the leap and owning my own business. But I didn't do it alone. I hired my first business coach 13 years ago. And now I help small businesses, solo practitioners, and professionals double their income and triple their time off. So let me help you too. My gift to you today is a free one-on-one strategy session. So go to coachwithheather.com, coachwithheather.com, and let me help you double your income and triple your time off.
Thank you for listening to Like a Boss, helping you rise to the top. Join Heather's mastermind at influencertribe.com, where she helps you become an influencer and dominate your field. Follow Heather Havenwood on Instagram. Interested in interviewing or scheduling a call with Heather? Go to callwithheather.com. For more, go to heatherhavenwood.com.
AM/FM 247, the best in talk and music all day and every day.